Alright, hello everyone, it's Happy, and today we're going to be talking about the American E4. Now this is of course the tier 10 tank destroyer with a turret and a very unusual sort of gameplay slash game style. Now the thing is that this tank seems like the child of an E3 and the XM, because again this tank does have a very nice turret. It has some okayish armor, I guess, which you can use from time to time, but at the same time it has some horrible characteristics which make it very hard to play. For example, the weapon handling is utterly atrocious. I mean, the dispersion and the aim time are both worse than the E3. And the E3, of course, has a much bigger caliber than this gun. So this gun has only 630 alpha, while the E3 has 680. Which is quite substantial, but at the same time you have a much better reload, 11.79 seconds versus the 14.32 on the E3, right? So in terms of DPM, you're going to actually be pretty good. You're going to be much better than something like a Minotauro, for example. But at the same time, your dispersion is better than the Minotauro, which just proves that the Minotauro has horrible weapon handling. In terms of armor, this tank is actually pretty decent. The turret at the top is a huge weak spot, I guess, even though it was patched up a little bit. And of course, you have that huge weak lower plate, and you have little cheeks you can get penned into. But apart from that, the armor is quite solid. I mean, the turret in itself, at face value, and of course the upper hull are going to be very strong parts of this tank. Now, can you go hull down in this tank? Unfortunately not. 6 degrees of gun depression are really not going to allow you to play off of ridge lines like the E3, while the XM, for example, has 10 degrees of gun depression. The Minotauro has 7. So in terms of that, you are quite limited with 6 degrees, and that sucks. Now, the mobility is 37 kilometers forward, which is still pretty okay, I guess, but it's still quite sluggish. You could never say that this tank is quite fast. In terms of the overall mobilities, I mean, it's not the mobility, but more the fact the tank sort of moves in general, or how fast it picks up its speed. It's actually pretty good with 16 horsepower per ton, right? Meaning that you are going to be gaining that 37 kilometers per hour quite quickly relative to other TDs, because again, the E3 has a much worse power to weight ratio, while the XM does have a more effective horsepower per ton. And of course, it does have much better terrain resistance compared to the E4. So how do you play the E4? I mean, you can't go hull down, so because you have 6 degrees. You have a turret, which means that you should be playing closer quarters, I guess, especially with the armor profile that you have. But the E4 is a tricky tank, because the E3, I can simply say that you should walk around with your heavies, go hull down, and you're pretty much good to go, right? Minotauro. Straight on fight heavies, you have perfect armor frontally. The XM, again, simple, just go hull down. You have 10 degrees of gun depression, very good turret. And the E4 is quite tricky, as I said. You can't really play this tank third line because it has too much armor for it, right? And in terms of camo, I guess it's pretty okay, but not the best. So again, in that regard, I feel like the E4 is sort of a tricky tank to play, but I guess it's more versatile. You can play it on the first line or the second line, depending on, how you feel or how the setup is. Because again, this tank is supposed to be fighting heavies as well on the front line, but at the same time, it just doesn't have a little bit of that armor, in my opinion. Overall, just a tricky tank to sort of get around, but I guess you can still make it work. So tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And with that, Happy is out, and I'll definitely see you guys next time. Bye-bye.